Erin, Carlota, and Coco here. Welcome to episode 2 of Hooked on Marketing, where we tell you all things you need to know, digital strategies to help you improve your digital presence.
Today, our topic is Google Ads, Corinne's favorite, or as we call it, pay-per-click. And we have a special guest, and she's going to tell you all you need to know about and think before setting up your first Google Ads campaign. Also, we will look at, how you can measure the success of your campaign, how you can monitor them after your ads have launched, and what you can do to optimize them. And also, we will have some actionable items for you and a customer success story. Our guest is Ali Leash. She is a digital marketing specialist and account manager at SiteSeeker, and she's definitely a pay-per-click whiz. She has over 10 years of experience in pay-per-click, Google Ads, and currently she's running so many pay-per-click programs at SiteSeeker, and all of them are super successful. So without any further ado, I know that Corinne, you had the chance to talk with Ali, and you guys had an amazing conversation. So let's dive right in and look at the insights that you guys discovered.
Awesome, sounds good.
Hey, Ali, thanks so much for joining me today. I'm so excited to begin this pay-per-click episode with you. You're so knowledgeable, and you've been in the business for so many years and helping tons of clients with different pay-per-click programs. So again, I'm just really excited to hear you share your different information, tips, and advice on how viewers can manage their pay-per-click programs a little bit better. So without further ado, why don't you just first start off by telling the viewers why pay-per-click is so important?
So pay-per-click is a great way to get your brand out there, get your message out there, the promotion out there, by paying a relatively affordable fee. You're not paying for someone necessarily to view your ad, but when you pay when they click. So it's a little bit more, it's a quality click. There's someone who's showing interest, someone who's, expressed that there's, whether or not they're in the consideration phase or just an awareness phase, you're getting in front of someone who is in your audience.
Gotcha. And so I know, having worked in pay-per-click as well, and Google Ads, I guess we'll call it, there's so many different types of campaigns that people can run. There's search campaign, display campaign, video campaign. So before I just take it away from you, why don't you kind of share with me, what kind of campaigns there are? I kind of just mentioned it, but also kind of giving more detail too about how would someone go about choosing what, campaign they would want to start with.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, there's search, display, and video would be your top 3. So search is going to be all text-based. Those will be showing up on, when you're doing a Google search, it's those, 2 or 3 spots that show up before the organic listings. Display is going to be any image-based ads, and those will show up around the Google Content Network. And those, I don't know the exact number offhand, but it's millions of sites that opt into the Google Content Network. So your ads can be shown there, and video ads can be on YouTube or also any of the content network that opts in for video ads. So really what's great about them is that they all kind of serve different functions. So your search ads are going to be, those are people who are actually searching for your ad. They've expressed intent. They're kind of more maybe they're in the research phase, but they're definitely not for your awareness base. Unless, again, it's research or even consideration or the intent to buy. Mm-hmm. Your display is going to be more for just getting your brand awareness out there as well. Let's say you have, you're a new startup. That would be a great time to do a display campaign, get in front of an audience that may not know you, but you just want to be seen. In addition, if you have a new product or a new service that you're launching, it's a great way to basically hit a large audience without, needing that kind of very niche search. And video is the same thing. It's, very much an awareness space as well.
Gotcha. So usually, when someone were to be on weather.com, usually I see a lot of display campaigns kind of popping up on there, or when you're in an app or something and then you have something, an ad pop up, those are kind of fitting into that bracket of display campaigns.
Absolutely. And you can use an assortment of all of them, we'll kind of get into that later, but having a mix of, you don't have to, what's nice about Google Ads is you don't have to pick just one type of ad. You might want a mix of search, display, and video to really get your message across and hit people as they're in different phases of the funnel.
Awesome. Great. Yeah. Like thinking about all these different types of ads that we can run. And, the Google Ads program is so robust and it can be very daunting to, someone just starting off in ads. So what are some of your best practices that you do when you go into the program?
So the first one is definitely take advantage of Google's tools that they already have built in. So one of those being the keyword planner. Google makes it very easy for beginners and experts alike to find new keywords, whether that's the low-hanging fruit, any long-tail keywords, so that you can find really valuable search queries, but for an affordable cost. And then you can in turn use those new keywords and put those into your ad copy, use them in your landing page. I know, with your background in SEO, you understand the importance of having relevant, keywords both in your landing page and in SEO for Meta. This would be the same thing for ad copy. So really just showing the quality of the ads and making sure that the user knows that this is the page I want to be on. This is a relevant this is a relevant ad to what I'm searching.
For sure. And just kind of going back on Google's whole premise, just to make sure they're serving their customers with the most relevant content. So when you have these keywords in your ad copy, but then you're also having them on your webpage too, Google actually rewards you, and we won't get too much into it like this episode, but you have a quality score for each one of your keywords. And this is specifically for search campaigns, of course, but if you're kind of having a keyword that's like women's shoes, maybe it's $3 per click, right? But if you have really great a quality score for it because you have that term in your ad copy and on your landing page, then Google's like, oh, well, let me reward you. You have a 10 out of 10, quality score. I'm going to deduct that $3 that you're paying, and you kind of end up paying less than your competition. So that's the beautiful thing about, keywords and planning and how it relates to SEO too.
Absolutely.
Great. And so the other thing that I, run into with clients and just like managing is they're kind of wanting to like make all of these different changes all the time. And, some changes are good, but some can be kind of detrimental to like the overall, health of your program. So you want to kind of talk about that, Allie, and the different things that affect your performance on the program?
Yeah. So definitely when you make changes, it's great to constantly be, measuring the results and analyzing what's working, what's not working. But when you do make those, huge changes, make them sparingly and make them thoughtfully. When you, make some changes in terms of, maybe you're switching the bidding strategy or you're updating a new ad completely, changing an audience, any of those big things that kind of rock the whole campaign, that puts your campaign into learning mode. And it starts this just about, 10 to 14 just regular days. But this learning mode where everything needs to, the AI system now needs to, relearn the ads, relearn this, what's going to optimize best. So making those changes, you can do some small changes, adding negative keywords so that you're constantly improving the campaign, but not sending it back into that learning mode. And if you are in that learning mode, really the important thing is to let it know, you need to let it be. Let it do its thing. Trust Google, trust the process, and then wait till it gets out of learning mode before you make any more significant changes. If the second that you start making those bigger changes while it's already in learning mode, it starts those 14 days back over.
Gotcha. So whenever someone were to make like one of these bigger changes and stuff, they should kind of like, don't get too frantic when maybe you see your conversions are a little less, or maybe your clicks are a little less, because again, you made a big change. So Google's trying to relearn the program.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that kind of brings me into like this next part of, I think, our best practices. And it's like ways to properly measure your results. And so what about that for you? Like, when to decide when you want to make these bigger changes, how we were kind of talking about before. What are ways to measure your results so you can determine if you want to make a change to your tactics?
So definitely there's everything on, that platform is going to show you everything from clicks, impressions, click-through rates, your conversions. So you do have like your soft metrics, which, would be the clicks, impressions, click-through rate. So those are great to look at. But ultimately, what is your goal for the campaign? If your goal is to get, new leads and form fills and phone calls, you want to look at that's the measure that you'll want to be focusing on, is conversion and conversion rate. If you're getting a lot of conversions, but maybe the cost is, it's way too high for how much you're making and you're not making any sort of profit on it, maybe that's where you need to start kind of shifting things around. But, from an overall ad standpoint, those soft metrics are great too. If you're seeing that there's a click-through rate, a very high click-through rate, and you get a lot of clicks, maybe, you're happy with the impressions, you're okay with your cost per click, but maybe you're not getting a ton of impressions. Now that kind of signals to us the ads are working, it's bringing people in, but what are they not finding on the landing page? So maybe it kind of segues into different things that you can do. It's not always just on the ad platform side. So keeping an idea, or you're keeping an open mind of when you're measuring the results, it's not just what's in the Google Ads platform. It's overall what needs to be measured.
And maybe also, not making like a bunch of big changes at once, because then how can you say whether or not, one change affected another, So it's probably best to just make larger but smaller changes, like just a little bit, inch your way out, I guess, into making these bigger changes that we're referencing.
Absolutely. I mean, A/B testing is, I feel like a little bit of like the lifeblood here at SiteSeeker. That's how you're going to know, is comparing, apples to apples.
Right. And then this is another big thing when thinking about how to properly measure your results. And Allie, I think you've ran into this too, but, sometimes clients, they can be searching for their ads and maybe even clicking on them. So why don't you kind of, say like why that's probably not the best thing that you should be doing?
Yeah, if there's one thing to take out of this whole conversation, it's do not click on your ads. Try not to search for them and just use the numbers that you find in the platform. Obviously the name, it's in the name, you pay per click. So every time that you click your ad, you're costing yourself money. And you're taking that out of the budget where a customer could be coming to you instead. But even just searching your ad, that's also a problem. When you search for an ad and then you don't click it, you're signaling to Google that this is no longer this ad isn't relevant to the search. So especially if you're searching for your big keywords and then you're not clicking on your ad, which you don't want to cost yourself any more money, but now you're showing Google, oh, you actually shouldn't be showing my ad at all for this. So it's a little twofold. So you'd be best off just trusting the process, using those numbers in the Google Ads platform, and then evaluating that way.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Allie. I mean, we covered so much, I think, in such a short amount of time. But, if anyone was to kind of have some key takeaway or some action items, going forward, what are some good actionable items to get started?
So we talked earlier about the keyword planner, and absolutely utilize that to start looking for your keywords, getting those ready for your ad copy. But in addition to just looking for the keywords, you can actually use the keyword planner to plan your budget. So what you'll do is within the keyword planner, you add a couple keywords that you'd like to be mainly found for, add your URL, select the keywords, then you can add that into like a forecasting plan. So once you go into the forecasting plan, then you can kind of look to see, based on these keywords, based on what you've put in for your geography, any geo-targeting, what kind of bid strategy you'd like to use, you get an idea for how many conversions that you could get. And it will give you like a daily budget. So then what's nice is that you can actually slide everything around and say, okay, well, if I would like to get this many conversions, how much should my budget be? Or conversely, if I'm willing to spend this much, how many conversions would I get for this daily budget? So just kind of knowing that, using it, you you have the tool, it's free to use it. Know that budget, and definitely don't spend, outside of your means.
Yeah, that's great, because I know that a lot of times, especially like people that are new to Google Ads, like are trying to figure out like how to determine your budget. And this is primarily, again, for a search campaign though. For, display or YouTube ads, you wouldn't necessarily use this either, because you're not picking keywords. Would you say that, Allie?
Yeah, absolutely. So with display campaigns, that actually kind of has that feature built right into the ads platform. So when you're, uploading your display ads and you're creating your audiences, that'll kind of give you an indication of, here's a weekly spend, here's a monthly spend. So, use those numbers. They might not be, they're definitely not 100% accurate, but at least give you some sort of baseline so that you kind of know what you should be expecting to spend.
Gotcha. Another thing, I don't want to like take away from what your action items are, but let's talk a little bit about targeting and how people can use targeting to help with their ad performance.
So targeting is great. So you obviously want to start out, you kind of, when you're going into building a campaign, your persona a little bit. But there are so many layers of targeting that you can add on Google to make sure that your ads are getting, not only shown to the right people, but that they're the people who are ready to possibly buy or call you and, pick up the phone. So you can even start out, geo-targeting. We kind of mentioned it, a couple seconds ago, but having the geo-targeting, and, if you're only servicing one area, don't waste your money outside of that area, or if maybe you want to completely search for, a business and you want to target, a certain type of business or a certain neighborhood. That's a great way to use geo-targeting. In addition, there's also affinity marketing or affinity audiences and in-market targeting. So what these are, that are built into Google, and it's, kind of using anything that, you've searched for in the past. It kind of gives Google an idea of who you are as an internet user. So using the affinity audiences, you can, that could be anything from, maybe you're a DIYer, or, the in-market audience could be that you are actively looking for a car. So kind of knowing where your customers are, as we mentioned before, in the purchasing funnel, that would be a great way to get in front of them.
And also, I like to use like the custom audiences that you can build yourself, instead of the pre-designed ones by Google, which are great. But, it's great. Like if you wanted to target some of your competitor sites, you can literally just copy and paste the URLs like within the custom audiences, and then you can use that, audience that you just created to your ad. So that's a really great part about it too. You can customize it any way you want, just in case maybe you're not finding it with what Google has kind of already set forth for you too.
And that's a great point. I mean, you ultimately know your customer better than Google does. You know the people that you want to come to your site. So while Google's there to, kind of hold your hand a little bit while you're building the audience, definitely utilize the custom audiences for sure.
And I think one final takeaway for action items, personally, would probably be setting goals. Would you agree with that, Allie?
100%. You got to know what you want people to do when they come to your site. Are you just hoping that, you're a new business, you want to just get your name out there, you have a new product? By all means, if you're just looking to drive awareness, maybe you're just looking for, your goal is to get a lot of impressions. If you have something really interesting that you need to say on your site and you want to drive traffic, maybe that's your goal. But maybe you're an established company and you really need those leads, and your sales team is hungry for leads, and you need form submissions and you need phone calls. So that would be your goal for that one, is be driving conversions. So what's also nice to know is your goals don't have to stay, they can absolutely move. Your goals can be fluid. Maybe you have a new product that you want to launch and you want to build up that awareness. And then now that, it's kind of known in the industry, now you can start, switching over to the driving conversions. You can absolutely do that. But ultimately, once you set those goals, measure. Know what keep an eye on those campaigns, make sure that you're getting the results that you want, and then optimize accordingly.
Right. And to another point, just thinking about measuring and, thinking about how Google Ads can be like a pretty large investment for a lot of people. I mean, you're spending hundreds, even thousands of dollars sometimes a month, just trying to like keep up with a campaign and have it perform well. So is there a story that you have from a client, managing these different pay-per-click programs that kind of stands out to you that you can share with people to kind of, show that while you do make the investment, you do get a lot out of it too?
Yeah, absolutely. Just last year, actually, we had a client come to us who they design and install mezzanines, and kind of came from a different agency that got a little burned on ads. It's not that the program wasn't necessarily successful, but it wasn't producing the results that he wanted. It wasn't giving those leads. So we took that over and kind of restructured the campaigns so that it was, organized by vertical rather than just the service, so that we could actually build out different audiences for each one of those. And in turn, then we actually, made a point to start measuring each of the leads, qualifying them. A lead came in, we'd check the form submission, make sure that it makes sense for his business. Ultimately, it's been a very successful program. Just last year alone, we were able to get, 150 new leads from pay-per-click, which is awesome. And, it's great to report on. So, and then from there, we're actually able to take that same advice and now we're able to use it into different programs. So what's great about pay-per-click also is that it helps launch other things and you can really expand your marketing program from there. So, people kind of just think that pay-per-click is this little, silo all by itself. But what we've learned from pay-per-click and, whether or not it's the keywords or, what people are now searching for, we can then use that and maybe we use it into like an email marketing campaign. And, okay, we know that people are searching for this. This is where they're converting. This is the message that we should be using moving forward. So that's actually one thing that, I found success in is it's not just getting the leads or it's not just getting the, extra traffic, but it's using that information and improving upon your marketing strategy as a whole.
So well said, Allie. Thank you so much. I mean, just thinking about it, there's so many ways of kind of tackling, your pay-per-click program. And I don't want, users to think that there's just one right way. But I think that, what we've talked about today in this episode, just kind of giving like key points, action items, ways to do things, I think that will help viewers to know how to like manage their programs a little bit better. And, we're here, Site Seekers here to assist. We'll have some very helpful links down in the video. So please check them out. If you want to reach out to Allie's here, she's a great resource. We'll also, just have our contact information so you can reach out to see like if you just have any questions about what we talked about today. But wrapping things up, Allie, thanks so much for taking the time and just sharing your expertise with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, that was a great conversation, Corinthia, with Ali. Wow, it was really insightful. She's really awesome, and I'm really glad that she was able to join us and she was willing to share expertise with all of us.
Yeah, I love working with Allie. She's just a wealth of information, specifically, for pay-per-click and many other things too. But I really hope that you all found today's episode helpful, and thank you so much for joining.
If you want to set up a campaign in Google Ads and you have any questions about that or about the episode, don't hesitate to reach out. We're going to link everything down below from our LinkedIn profiles to all the resources that we've mentioned in the episode. And make sure not to miss our third episode where we're going to be talking about lead intelligence. You really don't want to miss this one. We are going to talk about everything that covers how to generate more leads, how to nurture them, how to qualify them, and more. So make sure not to miss it.
Awesome. Can't wait to see you there.
See you then.